Now to Japan, it's executed 3 prisoners by hanging for the first time since 2019. The prisoners had been on death row for several years since being convicted of multiple murders in the early 2000s. More than 100 inmates await execution in Japan, where support for capital punishment remains high.
Japan has a very unique system, and certainly human rights groups and people campaigning for the abolition of the death penalty here have said that it is a very cruel and unusual system, in large part not just because of the use of hanging and the fact that Japan, along with the United States, is really the only major industrialized country that continues to use execution as a form of punishment. But Japan has this very specific way that it is done, which is that the inmate on death row may spend many years not knowing if this day, which day, is going to be their last day before they are put to death. They are only told literally on the morning that it happens.
The French army says jihadist Soumana Boura was killed in a drone strike as he was riding his motorcycle in Niger's Tilaberi region. He was one of the bosses of the so-called Islamic State in the Greater Sahara, in charge of dozens of fighters. The Islamic State group claimed responsibility for the killings last August of 6 French aid workers aged between 25 and 31 and their 2 local guides while they were visiting the Kore National Park, 60 kilometers from Niger's capital Niamey. French forces killed another boss of the Islamic State in the Greater Sahara group, Adnan Abu Walid al-Sarwawi, this August. They believe he ordered the execution of the aid workers, while Soumana Boura is believed to have filmed the execution and overseen publication of the footage.
Amid simmering tensions between Russia and European nations, Moscow has decided to cut the flow of gas supplies to Europe. The move has sent prices surging as the continent prepares for a week of sub-zero temperatures. Over the weekend, shipments through the Yamal pipeline that runs through Belarus and Poland to Germany were at their lowest point in at least a month. Russian media outlets explain that daily shipments fell from 27 million cubic meters last Friday to around 5 million cubic meters over the weekend. In addition, westward gas flows through the pipeline stopped on Tuesday, according to Reuters, which added the gas may have been redirected back to Russia. While some Western politicians and pundits have accused Russia of halting gas deliveries amid political tensions over Ukraine, Moscow denies any connection.
Now, the Russian Defense Ministry has published images which it says shows the launch of the Kalibr cruise missile from the newest Russian diesel submarine. Russian authorities say that during maneuvers, the Kalibr launch, or the underwater position, successfully hit a coastal target at a distance of over 1,000 kilometers.
Боевая тревога, ракетная атака, ракетное оружие к бою. Начать предстартовую подготовку. Есть начать предстартовую подготовку. Товарищ командир, боевой курс 213, крен 0, дифферент 0. Есть. Залп. Есть.
Where Iran's elite Revolutionary Guard fired ballistic and cruise missiles during the war games in the Persian Gulf. The war games are being held amidst heightened tensions with the United States and the State of Israel over possible Israeli designs to try and target Iranian nuclear sites. Now, Iran has said that its ballistic missiles have range of almost about 2,000 kilometers and are also capable, if need be, in case the State of Israel carries out any kind of an attack on Iranian installations. It says that its missiles can actually reach the borders of the State of Israel and other American bases in the region.
From arch rivals Boeing and Airbus, a rare joint call for the government and cell phone industry to postpone the 5G cell phone rollout set to go live in 2 weeks. The world's biggest playmakers warn 5G interference could adversely affect the ability of aircraft to safely operate.
30, 20.
The concern, 5G ground stations could interrupt a plane's radio altimeter, which provides precise altitude readings when landing in poor visibility. The FAA recently prohibited pilots from using altimeters during landing in bad weather starting in January when close to 5G sites. 7,000 runways and 2,500 airports, large and small, in potential interference zones.
A South African court on Tuesday ruled that former President Jacob Zuma is now allowed to appeal a court ruling that ordered him back to jail to serve the remainder of his sentence.
His freedom of movement is restricted, and this has an impact on his dignity. He is serving his sentence, albeit outside prison. Third, because his illness and advanced age. What I want to say is because of his illness and advanced age, he needs compassion, he needs empathy and humaneness, which is the essence of Ubuntu.
A massive brawl broke out in the Ghanaian parliament on Tuesday following a dispute over a proposed tax on electronic transactions. Lawmakers from the two political divides harshly debated on the 1.75% on e-levy on all mobile transactions, a bill that was proposed last month. The opposition members of parliament said the proposed levy will affect people of lower income who extensively rely on mobile transactions for their daily lives. According to Ghanaian Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, the levy will widen the tax net and raise an additional $1.15 billion in 2022.